Welcome to my video demo for assignment 2. I already have my app loaded up here. So this is our main landing page that you're first brought to. As you can see, it's just a very simple landing page with a background image, a header, and a button to enter the site. Now this background image does also have a mask over it, and that's just to darken the image a bit so that it really sits into the background like that and doesn't interfere with the visibility of other elements such as the heading here. Now with this button, if we click on it, it will disable and say that it's loading. And after a few seconds, it will then bring us to the main home page. As you can see, I do have an FAQ included here with some accordion elements. I did note in my report that you could potentially move the FAQ into its own dedicated page, but for now, I've got it here on the home page just to fill up this space. Now you can click on these headings and the elements will open and close in the accordion, but I do have this one open by default to start off with, and that's just because it does provide the user with some good information about the features available on this site. So I figured it'd be good to have that open by default to really draw their attention to it, so you have this information as an introduction as soon as you enter the site. Now with my navigation bar up here, you'll notice that as I hover over the elements that they do darken, and the home one here is staying dark, and that's because that's the current page, the current active page. So you'll notice that as we do navigate through the different pages, that the one up here that is the darker color will change to represent the active page. So the user can see exactly where they are in terms of the site's overall navigation. Now when we do click on one of them, if I just click and hold, the text color does also change, and that's just to provide some feedback to the user that we have received that input from them. Now if I do go to the stocks page first, you can see that that has changed color, like I said. Now we are met with these two buttons here, and this is to select the exchange that we want to see a list of companies from. So these are the two that are available. NASDAQ 100 and Dow Jones are available to non-premium users with the FMP endpoints. So if I just go ahead and click on one of them, it'll load, and then it'll bring up a table for us with the list of companies. And if we go to NASDAQ, it'll then change the view to the NASDAQ data. So you can swap between the two, and that's just so the user, if they do have a preferred exchange that they might want to look at, they can then decide which exchange they want to see. So we do have, first of all, I'll point out we have this icon here. So this is an icon, an info icon from the Material UI, and I have also turned it into a tooltip. And so you can see that it tells the user that you can click on a company in the table to view some more detail about it. And that's just because with this design and this layout, I feel like it's not immediately obvious to the average user that you could actually click on a company to view more. So I thought it would be good just to include that tooltip to really guide the user through the process of navigating this site. Now in regards to the table itself, all of these columns are sortable, as you can see, and they're also filterable using the inbuilt text filter. So we can search here, we can search the symbol, or we can search the name, like so. You will also notice I do have this select drop down. Now this is for filtering the sector. This is a multi-select tool. So you can see we can select more than one. You can clear them one by one, or you can clear them all at once as well. It's got a nice little animated component as well in it. Now you might have noticed as I made those selections, my grid is not changing. And I do talk about this in my report, that I couldn't quite get this to talk with the grid to filter it. But I have still left it here just so you can see in my code how close I did get with that. But in the meantime, I have as well just used the basic built-in filter as well as a temporary option instead of using this. So that's our stocks page. So then if I then pick one, let's say Adobe, I can click anywhere in this row. It doesn't have to be in a particular cell. Click anywhere in the row and it will then take us to our dashboard overview. And so this is the page where I've combined the price history and the quote elements together in one page. And I did that because I feel like that really simplifies the user experience. You only have to go to the one page and you can see all the information you could possibly want to know about that particular company. So up the top here, we have our price quote. And we've just got here the price, and this is the real-time price. So that is also from the quote endpoint that FMP offers. So that's the real-time price for Adobe. We do have another tooltip here as well. So you can, it says here, you can enter your budget to calculate the maximum purchase of stocks within your budget. So that's what this is asking for in terms of the amount to invest. And we've got a submit button here to then invest, to then see the quote for that investment. That button is disabled to start off with. It will, once I enter some numbers, so let's say $2,000, you can see as soon as I enter some numbers, the button becomes available to click on. Now this form here, it only accepts numbers and it only accepts positive numbers as well. There's no point in making a quote for a negative amount. So if I go ahead and submit that, this other part of the page becomes visible, and this is the quote that's then output. So for $2,000, or a maximum up to $2,000, we can purchase 4 stocks, and the total price will be $1,621. So 4 stocks is the most that we can purchase for this particular company within our budget of $2,000. So that's how that works. You can then, if I maybe change my mind, feel like investing $6,000, I can submit that instead. We get a new quote over here. Then moving on, we have our graph down the bottom for our price history. Now by default, it just shows the last 7 days, the last week to start off with the right side of the graph being the most recent date. So it goes from left to right, and you might have noticed you can hover over each point to see the exact date and closing price for that. Now we do have another select drop down here. Now this one I did get to work. So if we say we want to see the last 3 months, we can click on that, and that will then render again with our updated data. And by default, it automatically will, like it's skipping every few dates to make this fit into this view, but you can hover over them to see the individual prices and dates. So that's that page. Now the last page is, I do have a performance dashboard as well that you can see here. So I thought I'd add this in. I feel like when I'm looking at the stock market, this is the sort of thing that I like to see. I thought it might be good to add this in as a little bit extra. So we just have some tables. That's all it is, really basic to start off with. But I saw some of the endpoints in FMP and was really interested with them when I was going through the list of available endpoints. So I've used some of those here. So this shows us a summary of all of the sectors, and this badge here, this pill, shows that it's updated hourly. So it's just the percentage change across each of the sectors. So if you were interested, a user could come here and see which sectors are performing well, which ones aren't performing so well. You can also see most active stocks for the last day. So that's the most bought or sold stocks, the top 30. And then same here, we have the top 30 stocks that have had the biggest gains in the last day or the biggest losses in the last day. So really simple stuff. These tables are set up the same as the table on the stock page. So all of these columns are sortable. They're also filterable just using the inbuilt AdGrid text filter. If I search for something that actually exists, there we go. And then it also shows us the current price or the closing price from the previous day, the change in price and the percentage change. So by default, these are organized by the percentage change, I believe. And that's about it. I forgot to add that I have tried to design the layout to be as responsive as I possibly could. So if we switch to our mobile view, here we go, you can see that this page has resized all of the elements, the heading, the nav bar, these tables have resized to fit that view, just with the iPhone 12 at the moment. If I change the landscape, then once again they resize to fit that page. So yeah, I have tried to make it as responsive as possible. I did have a few issues, so some few specific examples which I have pointed out in the report that are still responsive, but could be a little bit better. But for the most part, you can see that we do have the various pages resizing as you change the view. So yeah, thank you for watching.